What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 40 of the single player Let's Play series. So today I just wanted to start the episode by showing you guys exactly how much power our entire system is using now. Between the RS network and our auto production and all of our farms, we're using about 700 RF per tick. You can see it fluctuates quite a lot, but I thought that this variant was a little bit more useful than some of the others as far as being able to see what was going on. So this is kind of an interesting metric to keep in mind, is that we are using quite a substantial amount of power. So in between episodes, and it seems like grid power is on the fritz again. You can tell that because I've never produced 10,000 grid power. Whatever. We'll be getting to that today. Until then, and these don't have feather falling, do they? I should add feather falling to these boots. Until then, back on focus here. I have, in between episode, crafted some greenhouse glass. Since this is a 7x7 farm, it only required about 48 pieces of greenhouse glass. You get 3 per, so I had to make 16 empowered payless crystal blocks. Not a big deal, so I did that off camera, and this has just been completely bananas fast. So now, we are actually, because of the way that everything has been running for so long now, we're actually doing just fine on canola now. We were down to about 200 canola, and now we're actually back up to about 596. I went through and made a whole bunch of empowered, and it's the empowered, right? Or is it just the crystallized? I don't remember which one's which. The crystallized. I made a whole bunch of the crystallized canola seeds manually, since it was quicker than doing it individually. And so I went ahead and did that off camera, like I said, filled up the buffer for those, and so now we're kind of doing a lot better as far as our whole canola seed setup goes, and sooner or later we'll be completely done with them. So I've added a few new mods in between episodes as well. I added the random toolkit mod, and there's a lot of really cool stuff in this mod. Stuff like the dolly, which is probably missed a little bit too much nowadays, but that's no big deal. And there's a few other things that are in here that we'll be looking into maybe as we get later into everything. But for now, I'm really excited because I want to get started with some cool teleportation stuff. So to get started with the teleportation stuff, unrelatedly, I want to go and get some slime crystals for some new weaponry. So we're going to want to make some slimy mud, which is going to be, let's see, blue congealed, and then we're going to want some dirt. And we're going to want some sand. I also want to get some paper. And I have some hemp. I think I can use this. Let me come over here and smelt up our slimy mud. Because if you remember, we had at one point made manulin arrows and some really cool stuff with these guys. And while they're neat and all, I'd like to try to remake them a little bit better this time. So we're going to take a look at some of the better stuff that we can maybe do to make them work out, because I want to come up with an all-new system for ranged arsenal. Part of what I want to do today is dimensional travel, which means I plan on making a bit of a teleport hub, and actually we don't need that for anything. I plan on making a bit of a teleport hub today, but I also plan on going to the end, which is part of the teleport hub, because I'm getting to a point in the game where until I go to the end, there's a lot of stuff that I can't make, and as a result, there's a lot of stuff that I really want that I'm locked out of. So I think it's about time that we finally crack the whip and go to the end, and just see kind of how things go. So this is going to give us 396 durability. Now the problem. Bonus damage, -1. The problem, we get 5 modifiers with this, so I guess the problem or the question is, with it being... With this being the case, should we try to do mending again? Or should we just go ahead and do an unbreakable bow? Let me consider some of our options, and I'll be back when I'm done. So, last time when we made arrows, we wasted a lot of resources and modifiers using something over here for both quartz a little bit, but also just for diamond and a mending moss. So I'm going to do things a little differently this time. We're going to do the same manulin tipped arrow, but we're going to do a treated wood arrow shaft and feather. We'll see if the treated wood can keep up. Hopefully it can. We'll just have to find out. I won't throw these away. I'll just keep them in the inventory for now. And in the meantime, a few things. First of all, that weird issue I was having with my grid power, I have temporarily solved it. I can't say that I've found the actual solution, but I removed the mod Angel Rings to Baubles. I don't know if that was it or not. I can't guarantee that it was, but it certainly has not popped its ugly head again ever since I've removed it. So I can only hope that that was what it was and find out later if it was not. So in the meantime, I'm going to take a little while to make some more aluminum brass. So the way I'm going to do the level thing is for each 2 levels that we increase on XP, I'll give myself, using the Tinker's, there's a Tinker's tool leveling command, I will use that command to increase the modifier of the bow by 1. Cool, alright, so we have our new arrows, and the bow's done, and at this point we just need to kind of go level some of this stuff up. We have 3 modifiers on here, so I think we should go ahead and take our obsidian and our reinforcements. So let's go ahead and grab, what are they called? Oh, we actually have a lot of reinforcements spare still. I've been wasting a lot of time. Oops. We'll go ahead and slap 3 reinforcements on the arrows, and that will help a lot as far as how many... I mean, look at that, where 60% of the time we'll actually use durability on these arrows. And so I'm going to take some time off camera to, in between, like if it gets nighttime, I'll probably cut the episode, go fight some mobs with the new bow, and kind of fiddle fart with that and sort it out later. But one thing that I want to go ahead and do now, while we still have daylight, because that's kind of what's important at least, is I want to see about... Sorry, I can't make up my mind on the inventory. I want to see about some cool stuff that is going to help us once we get to the end. So the thing that I'm most concerned about, really, is the following. Once we get to the end, I want to have a way to get back and forth very easily. And of course, there is a matter transmitter and a matter receiver. So this will be sort of what we have set up for all of this. So let me grab a few machine frames. We're going to need... I don't know how many to make. I'm just going to start by making 6 of them. That seems like a fair amount to make. And so we'll do matter, and we'll just leave it at the word matter, and we will do 3 transmitters and 3 receivers, which is the same recipe, just upside down. So these receivers and transmitters will require RF energy, so we're going to need a few energy cells. In fact, I think I've already got one, and by energy cell, I mean power cell. I've already got one, and that will be enough for our initial project in the end once we get there. But I want to set up a little area for it as well, because I don't want to just like, boom, teleport to some place and then that's it and you're done. So I don't know where I want to teleport to, but I was thinking it would be really cool to teleport somewhere that worked kind of like a building or something that was like a... Oh, I don't know. So I'm going to take a few minutes to just kind of decide more or less what I want to design, how I might want to design it, because it would be really cool, in my opinion, to do some wacky and fun builds. So let me take a look and see what I can come up with. So ironically, as I was browsing building materials that I really wanted to use, one of them was voidstone, and looking at the recipe, it would be a lot more simplistic to make if we went to the end, to get voidstone from purple blocks instead of using 3 obsidian and 2 eyes of ender, which is 2 ender pearls and 2 blaze rods. We don't have infinite blaze rods yet. I have a plan for farming a few nether mobs. That's kind of part of what I'll be doing today, but more like part of what I'll be doing in the next episode than today. I have a lot of plans. So since we don't really have much that we can do yet with that, why don't we just go ahead and put down a few things. But one other thing that I forgot to make before we get started placing stuff is I wanted to make an advanced charged porter. So I've grabbed a second power cell, and what I'm hoping is we're just going to put this here for now. This is not the ideal place. Trust me, I've got better places for it that I want it to go as far as building a building, because I have plans for doing some really cool screen-related stuff with RF tools, where we can use 1 dialer, 1 matter transmitter, and 1 matter receiver, and use some buttons on screens to do some cool stuff. But for now, this is what we're just going to do. So we're going to call this the, I don't know, main village. Access public, that works for me. And now if I shift right click, then I can add the receiver to my advanced charged porter. And if I shift right click on the advanced charged porter, you'll see that I get 8 different places that I can store. And I can set and teleport to them basically from anywhere. So this is really cool. If I walk over here, right click, boom, teleports me over here. This is kind of going to be useful for some other cool stuff as far as, like I said, teleporting yourself to other dimensions is really where this is particularly useful. But my concern is that, of course, I don't want to use this just to kind of go to the end and then leave. I want to make this a back and forth situation, which we don't really have right now. But the charge porter is going to help us until we have something for it. So, let me go ahead and make a few Eyes of Ender. And we will head off to the end. Alright, 24 Eyes of Ender have been made. It's a new day. And it looks like we're going this way. So this is really cool. On my way over to the end, I found a few things. First of all, I'm slightly suspect of this tree here. Yep, that's what I thought. This is an actually addition structure. Usually the chests hide in the trees in the top, and I haven't found one. Oh well, I guess we're just constantly being hated on by Elpec. That's fair though, I do deserve that. Then I also found this really cool pyramid. Now these are pretty cool, except they're not so fun once you can teleport around. Just look at that. I just found myself in the center of one of the dungeons that it contains. And that's just not quite as fun. Actually, this may not be recurrent complexes. This might be quark. I think this is quark. This isn't even recurrent complexes. Very cool. I've been wanting to find one of the new quark ones, but I've never seen them around. Found a desert temple as well while I was out and about. Let's see what we got. There's not really a lot that I'm looking for. Wow, my own auto smelt enchantment. That's funny. There's not really a lot that we need, but these runes are pretty cool because you can't get them any other way. And the capacitors are just fun. I spy with my little eye the end portal. Yep, this is it. So we'll just kind of run around here, run amok, and I'll be back if I find anything interesting. I'd say I found something interesting inside of the chest in the library. I forgot that this was exclusive loot to this specific area, and I don't have the plugin for everything like I thought I did. But Fortune 3 Ancient Tome means that I can apply it to a Fortune 3 book and get Fortune 4. Yes, you heard me right, Fortune 4. I don't know, and I'm going to have to... This is going to be really interesting. I'm going to have to see how this is going to work out. I don't know how VTweaks is going to handle that with auto-smelting. I have no clue. Something I forgot about is this far out from our normal ore generation, and you're going to find black quartz. Because I have not had the generation since I added the mod afterwards, and I never did bother doing anything with the effect of retrogen. What that does remind me, though, is that I should probably look into doing a... I'm just going to try to avoid these guys if I can. I should probably add an override for that, because it didn't look like the Fortune Auto Smelt worked for that one either. Which is fine. So, back at it. Well, I'm just about done, so I'm going to waypoint our end portal here. That color. That color's perfect. I'm very picky. So we will go on and activate it. Get our bow and arrow out. We can send this back now. Sorry, I had to think very carefully about that. So the only other thing I can think of is, let me go get, I thought of one last thing that I didn't do. Let me get 2 pieces of stone to make a pressure plate so that I can give something for our dragon egg to fall onto, because I do want to get the dragon egg when we leave. And we'll go ahead and grab our ninja stars. I don't think we're going to need them. It's not going to be a very difficult fight, I don't think. I could be wrong. I don't think it's going to be that bad. We have our angel ring for flight. Angel Rings to Baubles was clearly not the cause of our issue because, as you can see, we're still spontaneously getting more and more power. But for now we can fly, so let's enjoy that. And get ready to fight the Ender Dragon. So I'll keep you guys around for this whole fight, because it's a pretty important one. My greatest fear is that our arrows will run out while we're trying to do the fight. But really, it's going to be either one or the other. So we can try to use a few different projectiles for some things, I guess, and that'll help save our arrows. Especially since we haven't even gotten any experience for the last few things that we destroyed. Can I shoot that through there? I wonder if I can. Let's see my precision. Come on. Nope, I don't think it's... I don't know that that's even possible to shoot through there. And so that's okay. You know what I just realized I forgot to bring with me on this first trip, which is okay. We'll be making several trips back and forth. I did forget to bring any bottles. I meant to get some Ender Air and some Dragon's Breath. In fact, the Dragon's Breath part might be a big deal, but it'll be okay. Let me just turn... let's see, hostile creatures. Oh, that's right. This is your melee-only stage, isn't it? Do these count as projectiles? I guess so. Well, it's not so fun to do whenever you can fly. So, I guess a lot has been lost on me here, but that's okay. I have waited 40 episodes to go to the end. Come on, man. So I'm curious to see if we kill the Ender Dragon with the arrows here, because these arrows are not getting any XP from usage just from me hitting the dragon. They get the XP from when you kill an entity. So I'm curious, what happens? How much XP do we get for killing an entire dragon with arrows, I guess is my question. And how many arrows do we have left? We still have a lot. The Unbreaking has been helping out a lot. We've only used like 11 arrows according to Unbreaking. So I'm only going to take the Ender Dragon down a little bit more. And I'm going to leave the rest of it for the arrows. We'll just stand by idly and wait. There we go. How much experience did that give me? Or maybe the dragon is still technically dying and not considered dead yet. I think that's the case. So that got me 0 XP. Well, that's truly disappointing. It really is. Oh well. So this unlocks a few things for us. Of course, there's always the Outer End Islands, which we can go to. You also may have noticed that ever since the dragon died, there's now all these weird little black ores around. This is Biotite from Quark. And it's just quite simply like a, I don't know, it's a decorative block. It has a very cool weather sensor, which allows for us to detect when it's raining or not. Looks like our little outside island portal is over there. We're probably going to want to visit that. We got an Epic Shader grab bag from the dragon dying. And we also, if you remember, we have our stone pressure plate for a reason. It's so that I can figure out where the dragon egg flew off to. And then do this right here. So before we head off to the Outer End Islands, I do want to come and put down, I guess right here by the exit portal is fine. I would like to put down another matter receiver. So we have our power cell, and it's got plenty of power. And now we just want to put another matter receiver down, and we'll call it the end. And now if I grab my advanced charge porter, receiver 3 has been added, so I can set it to here and do the same thing. So one of the things that I needed from here was purpur, so that's going to come from the chorus plants here. And we can just go ahead and grab some of the flowers off of the tops of these. Oh, we already got a dragon's eye too. These are kind of cool. They're one of the things from roots that we can use to make our end game or end roots lineup items. So we'll just go ahead and grab a few chorus fruits, and then I also need to find... I guess I don't technically need to find it, because can't you pop this and then use popped chorus fruit for an end rod? Yeah, because I'm going to need end rods at some point. I've had a few different varying quarrying plans, and unfortunately, as far as like automated mining, it doesn't have to be quarrying specifically. I am unable to do I added Steve's carts with the hopes of being able to make one, make a cart to mine for me. But it seems as though there's a bug in Steve's carts where that basically isn't possible to automate. So I'd much rather look into other options, and right now other options are looking specifically like basically the quantum quarry or the builder or maybe a few other things, but I can't really think of much. You guys have my mod list in the comments. We're not going to be doing any automated mining for quite a while, so if you have an idea, tell me, because I will probably see it before it is done, before it's no longer relevant. So I don't know that there's really a lot here that I need. I think it'd be fun to come over here and snag some elytra, or elytra, or I think they're pronounced elytra, and I've actually never said elytra until just now. So I probably should have just stuck with what I thought was right. I'm going to try to avoid getting shulkered. What are these even called? Shulker bullets? Come on, mate. Dunked. God, those are annoying. Steal a dragon head. I don't think I've ever had a dragon head in survival. And there's some potions in here. Not really fantastic ones, but they're worth stealing, I guess. Whoops. I do want the elytra. And I don't really know if there's anything on these that I would really value all that much. Oh, proven grafter. That's actually really useful. Respiration 3, I guess we can use. I'm mostly looking for enchantments to strip at this point. Projectile Soulbound. Soulbound is nice. I would probably steal the Soulbound off of there. And I think I'll just finish stealing these end rods just for the fun of it. I'm a little bit curious to see what all the end rods can be done with as far as building. Like, I know a lot of people build with them in survival vanilla, and that's fine and dandy, but I'm curious if they can be, like, if they're considered multi-parts or not. So, there's a lot to mess with, but I'm just going to go pretty much fiddle fart around here, and I'll be back if anything interesting shows up. Alright, so I kind of messed up a little bit. I was recording the wrong resolution for a very substantial amount of time. And so, basically, for your sake, it's worth it. I just kind of go over what I did instead of actually do it again. So, one of the things that I did was I fought the Ender Dragon again using 4 of the Ender Crystals. They're pretty easy to make. And with that came the convenience of getting more of the Dragon's Breath. So, if I show you over here, we now have 4 pieces, or rather not 4, but we got some of the Dragon's Breath in bottles. And so... it doesn't really have any use except for one that I'm looking at very closely for the Ender Star. The Ender Star has a lot of other recipes in vanilla actually editions, but I've actually tweaked a lot of the recipes so that they no longer include stuff like that. So basically all that they're used for now are the wings of the bats, but they allow for infinite flight without grid power. So I'm considering those, but the downside is just like the Angel Ring is now in its current state without Angel Ring to bobble, it's going to use up an inventory slot in my hotbar, which there's not really a lot of right now. Granted, there's a few things that need to kind of be moved, but even on a normal occasion, this is about what things look like. So, you know, the hotbar is a little bit of a mess, even with only a pickaxe. And so these are things that I'm a little bit worried about as far as running concerns go. I might go ahead and make the wings of the bats just to make them, just to have them around. I don't really know what the purpose would be to have them, but, you know, it might be a good little leeway until we get around to doing the Gaia Guardian, which is kind of my endgame idea at this point, is flight by means of a Flugel Tiara. But the Flugel Tiara is going to require a few things that we don't have, well, 2 things, 1 thing that we don't have. There used to be 2. We don't have we now have Ender Air Bottles. I grabbed those, but we don't have 4 Gaia Spirits. Now, we can get that from just fighting the Gaia Guardian once, but the problem is, I don't have the preparation for that right now. And I'm very, very bad at playing games. You have to understand that even given, you know... it's not that I'm bad at playing games. I'm bad at combat. I'm bad at fast thinking. Things like Terraria Expert Mode don't go well for me because whenever a mob comes at me, it's not that I freeze, it's that I'm just not as well aimed or well... it's a combination of aim and just... I don't know, reflexes too, I guess. So there's a lot of that I'm kind of concerned about, but I think we might do the Gaia Guardian at some point. But the problem with that is in order to do the Gaia Guardian, we're going to have to fight a Wither. So that's all kind of... this is all kind of building and compounding around itself. And so the first thing that we want to do is get ourselves some Wither Skeleton Skulls. Well, the problem with getting Wither Skeleton Skulls for a Wither is that our Nether Fortress isn't exactly convenient. So what I plan on doing is doing this whole teleportation thing that I've been building up all episode is because I want to have a hub that takes me to here, one that takes us to the end, and one that takes us to the Nether at a Nether Fortress. So let me get started on, I guess pretty much at this point we have everything we need to just go and do that. I just need to make one more power cell and one more power cell link card. And I'm going to go and find the Nether Fortress, and then once we get there, it'll be worth taking the time to go ahead and get ourselves the matter transmitter, or rather receiver, in place. Because the receiver is going to make a big difference for us. So let me see if I can find it. And don't think that just because I'm going to have a matter transmitter and receiver set up, that this stuff down here is going to be impractical. I do still very much love how this room turned out, even if it is kind of inefficient. I just like how it looks. So just believe me when I say that this room isn't dead. You know, we still have to farm netherwort for infernal bulbs. So with that being said, I'm going to cut here and come back once we have a Nether Fortress. So I found myself a Nether Fortress. That took quite a while. So what I'm going to do is this. I want to go ahead and get myself another ender, just like the one that we put in our last Killer Joe. And it's been a while since I've made it, I know. And I do apologize if you don't remember the recipe or whatever. But I'm just going to get another ender. I think I've already got one. And I'm going to sit around here and basically I'm going to enchant it with sharpness, enchant it with looting, and then sit around here and grind the mobs pretty much all day, trying to get some Wither Skeleton Skulls. And I might even capture a Wither Skeleton, because I wouldn't mind having one around for the... well... oh, that cooked. Whoops. I wouldn't mind having one around for a Wither Skeleton farm. So I'll be back in just a little while. So one random thing I thought of while I was working on some of the stuff out here is that I wouldn't mind having a Pyroclast pendant, and I believe there's even a higher tier one past it called the Crimson pendant, which we cannot make yet. But the Pyroclast pendant we actually should be pretty close to making. So it's a Rune of Summer and a few other things. So let me go and get that ready. And oh, some mana infused string is very easy. And let's see, Pyroclast pendant is also going to require 2 sand, a melon, a slime ball. I don't have any melon. Okay, well, I'll be back when I have everything handled. Miraculously, and it might have been solely because of an update that I just did, but all of my crops were gone. So I had to remake all of my crops, and that sucked. But well, okay, not all of them. I had some seeds. I had kept some seed copies, some backups, so I had some 10-10-10s and 10-10-8s as backups. But it was still very inconvenient. So let's go ahead and get that pendant. There we go. And this goes in the amulet slot, which I don't think I have used yet. Maybe I have. And so now if we hop back over to the Nether, we have our Nether Fortress over here. Hopefully these pesky blazes won't be such a nuisance anymore. So as you can see in chat, I am now accustomed to the weight of manual and arrow, which means we've gotten 2. Here's the first one. Here's my second one, modifier. There we go, / level up tool. And so now we get 1 extra modifier and we get the comfortable status on it. Reinforcement. We'll run right over here to the foundry and slap ourselves on an unbreakable arrow. That makes me very happy. The only thing I'm worried about is that the insatiable modifier is going to still damage these, but we will just have to see. Currently we have 10 ammo. We'll keep an eye on how much ammo we have. And if it continues to decrease, we might have to look into other options, or we might just stick with it. But so far it seems to be working out okay. Alright guys, so I've gotten the 3 wither skeleton skulls that I wanted, and I've gotten some purpur. We've done a lot this episode, so in between episodes I'm going to do some building. Mostly just going to kind of flesh out some different sort of teleportation hubs. But don't worry, I'll leave the actual like cool technological stuff for the video itself. But building seems to be pretty boring to watch, so I'll do that off camera. And in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.